I believe we're live Friday night with Frankie. We got a lot of news to break down. We got a lot of stuff going on. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat because we're going to go first, probably, assuming we can hear, to the Frankie from Flatbush theme song. Hopefully this will work.
Frankie from Flatbush rides the Brooklyn line. Got a swagger sharp like a vintage wine. Everybody knows his name from porch to stoop. Hustling dreams in every loop. In the park he struts, hits the handball wall. Echoes hear the stories when the shadows fall. Got 1,000 tales and a confident grin. On the streets of Flatbush where legends begin. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near. He's got the rhythm, everybody cheers. Corner talks and sidewalk chalks his fame. In the Flatbush breeze you'll hear his name. Underneath the subway hum, the magic's real. Frankie's moves got that electric feel. From Atlantic Avenue to the urban hill, Flatbush Frankie's giving you a thrill. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go.
Frankie from Flatbush theme song. And so you can listen to that, and we can listen to that now that we have some of the audio worked out. But it's Friday night, and I thought it'd be time for a little celebration. So I think we should drink a little all-day IPA. How about that? Time to crack open a cold one. And here at FSPN Studios, we are very fancy. We use what's known as a red cup. You ever seen a red cup? Well, we got that. We got to pour one out and drink it down because we got a lot of celebrating to do. And it's Friday night, and it's time to use the old red cup to have a celebratory drink, although this has a lot of foam on it. Kind of tasty. But we'll be sipping on that. Hopefully you're having a good time wherever you are. Let's check out what's going on in the chat over here. We got Philip Adams from jolly old England. He might want to have a pint at the pub. You never know. Matthias Simon is here. Mark Sishati's here. Simon says, great to get Brees signed. Yeah. And Phil Adams is still like, hey, what about that bell? Yeah, Frankie, you could give us all this great stuff, but what about the bell? Don't you know we want the bell here? And, yeah, well, So you can't have everything, Phil. I mean, let's be honest. Matthias likes the intro. All right, Matthias. All right, so let's get into it. Yeah, Brees Hall is the news of the day. And it just gets better and better for this Darren Muji fella because he just keeps killing it. This is a perfect deal for the Jets. Great deal for Brees Hall. It's along the lines of what we talked about last week. I think we were talking 26, 27. Got 29. It's essentially a 2-year deal. Third year is a team option, essentially. And I believe, we don't know yet, but we're going to have to see what the signing bonus is. Because if he gets a big fat signing bonus, which he probably should, then what's going to happen is the cap hit that we would have taken under the tag this year will go down. So it depends on how they structure this deal. But either way, we don't need a ton of cap space this year, and we have a ton next year. So essentially a 2-year deal with a third-year club option. We'll see what the signing bonus is to see how it affects the cap. But my suspicion is this will help our cap both this year and next year. So you keep your talent in-house. You make him happy. He gets a bunch of money. And could be a 2-year, could be a 3-year deal. Let's see how he performs. But it's not a long-term deal. We're not killing our cap. Remember, we're going to have over $150 million in cap space next year. We're going to be begging people to take our money. Essentially. So if you're gonna pay a significant amount of money to a running back, that's the year to do it. So we got that, and then we can see how year 3 is. No guaranteed money on the third year. Essentially a club option. If things are going great, we continue on with that. If not, we let him go and say thank you for your service. So now we're not going to have the distractions coming in camp. We know that, and we got a happy camper. He's going to come in and get things going on the right foot. And I think that Brees Hall's going to probably have his best year of his career, because this is finally the first year he has where he's going to be playing in an offense with a quarterback. You know, the best one he had was broken down Aaron Rodgers, and even then he wasn't great that year. Rodgers, that is. So, you know, hopefully the offense will be balanced, pass and run, and that will help Hall to be more efficient. And that's what I see. And also, I think he's going to get a lot of pass receptions as well. So, all good news on the Jets front. Flatbush Dre is here, hanging out. Yeah, we're celebrating. We got the Founders All Day IPA. You know, I thought it was time for a little drink. Sometimes at the end of the week you need a drink. Not that often. Not that often, to be honest. But sometimes you do. And so we got one going on. Matthias Simon, Muji is doing something the Jets don't do, take care of their players. Yeah, well, what I would say Muji's doing is smart things, right? We talked about this last week. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And ever since he got his staff together, all he's done is smart things. Trades, signings, retaining the right players from the previous year. And now with this contract, he makes a very smart move. Good for the player, good for the club. The agent's happy, the player's happy, the club is happy. Everybody's happy. So that's just smart general managering. That's the way I see it. Phil says, I'm liking how Mooj is doing his business. He said he would get the contract done, and he has, with very little fuss. Yeah, I mean, they thought they were close. All the reporting was they thought they were close before the draft, and so just needed a few details, probably incentives, you know, this incentive, that incentive, let's get this in there. And, of course, I love incentives. If you hit your incentives, we're happy to pay you, of course. Yeah, he gets it done ahead of all camp. It doesn't have to be a lingering story. Makes the player happy. In fact, Brees Hall's reaction was that he cried. he said, I don't really cry. The last time I cried was when I tore my ACL, but this hits differently. And he was so happy he was crying. So, the player's happy. He's going to come in. He's going to work his butt off. I think he's going to have the best year of his career. That's what I think. We should have a very balanced offense, which is good news for Brees. Drafted smart players. Yeah, right. So we had a good free agency period this year, signed a lot of really good players, and then had a really good draft now that he has his staff together. And so the last draft, not so great, good in the beginning, but back end, not so hot. But he didn't, we got to give him a chance. He didn't have his whole staff together. Now he has his whole team together as he likes it, and he had a great free agency period, and he had a great draft, and now the retaining of players. I mean, it just keeps going on where it's smart move, smart move, smart move, smart move. So you got to love it. You got to love it. So the schedule, Regal, I think that says, the schedule, we're going to have a live show for the schedule reveal. So next week, the NFL announced today, there's a lot of other NFL news as well that we'll get to. But the NFL also announced that it will reveal the schedule, the entire schedule. Some will drip out during next week. But next Thursday at 8 p.m., they're going to reveal the full schedule. So we will go live. And as soon as we have the full schedule, we'll obviously go through it, predicting wins and losses. Where are these 9 or 10 wins that you see, Frankie? I'd like to know. How the hell are we going to win all these games that you think we're going to win? Well, so we'll have a whole show about that, Regal. And we'll go through and we'll talk it through. We'll see where the wins are. Where are these wins, Frankie? Now, I have a higher opinion of Geno Smith than most, but that's only because I watched the tape. Matthias says it's the 5th easiest schedule. Well, I don't really go by that. I don't really care about that. I mean, for example, the Patriots wound up last year after you figured it out during the year, like not the preseason rankings. Like after the season was over, it wound up that the Patriots played like the easiest schedule in the history of the NFL. And they put up a lot of wins. They went all the way to the Super Bowl. And even in the playoffs, they got a lot of luck. And so, that's really what matters more is once you figure it out after the fact, what team, because you don't know what injuries teams are going to have, who's going to underperform, who's going to overperform, what guy is going to be much better than you thought, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't really care about the rankings. And plus, teams turn over 30 to 40% every year. So who cares how they did last year? If the team turns over 40%, is it the same team? No. Plus, we had like 10 head coaching changes or some crazy number this year. These are not the same teams year over year. So I'd like to take a look at the schedule and just go by what the team is now, the coaching staff, the players they have now after the draft, after free agency, who's on the roster now? What's their situation now? Not last year. And do it that way. We'll walk through all the games, and I'll give you my rationale on W's and L's. I think there's a good chance we could beat the Patriots once, for example, this year. And I think there's a good chance we can beat the Dolphins twice. That's 3 wins right there. I think Karate is here. Meadowland Swamp Thing, he's a member of the Inner Circle. You could be a member of the Inner Circle by clicking the join button down below for just $2 a month. He says, if his process is good, I wouldn't hang him out to dry if he misses on a quarterback. Drafting one in the first is a coin flip. I guess you're talking about Muji? Well, we're probably going to take one in the first next year, so let's see. Simon, now it's all in Glenn's hands, fingers crossed. Yeah. Yeah, the ship of Theseus. Right, that's the philosophical underpinnings. At what point is a ship not a ship? So if you have a boat, right, like a rowboat, and you take off one plank of the wooden rowboat, is it still a boat? Yeah. But all right, now what about this plank, this plank, this plank, this plank? At what point is it no longer a boat? This is a philosophical question. And the way I see it, the teams turn over 30 to 40% per year. So therefore, using how they did the previous year, no bueno. You got to take each year separate and distinct. So that's the way we're going to do it. So Vrabel, I mean, more and more information's coming out. There are rumors that Rossini was not the only dalliance he had, but those are just rumors. We don't know. And so we don't know if he's going to survive, and if he doesn't, what that means for the Patriots. Certainly, almost certainly, they would just hire from within on an interim basis, I would think, and then attack it next year. But the scariest thing that could happen is, let's say he resigns in disgrace. More information comes out. Vrabel resigns, and then they hire up McDaniels or whoever on an interim basis, and they say, "Look, this is an unusual circumstance. We can't do a full hiring cycle. We need an exemption from Rooney Rule. All these things." And the NFL probably says, "Yeah, okay." So McDaniels becomes head coach, and he's just interim though. And they say, "Okay, but we'll come next year when we have a full cycle, we'll go through the whole rigmarole." And then next year comes and they hire Mike McDaniels. That's the worst outcome we could hope for. So we probably should want Vrabel to hang on this year. Let McDaniels get settled somewhere, hopefully in the fucking NFC. Get out of here. And then have Vrabel get fired. Or something like that. So we'll have to see. All quiet on the Eastern Front right now, but there are rumors that there's more to come out. A lot of rumors. But they're just rumors at this point. Who knows? And once Rossini starts talking, who knows what she's going to say. So we'll have to see about that. Yeah, Sean Payton, I mean, he has a snowstorm coming. He has a backup quarterback in. He has a fourth down. He has an easy field goal to make. And he decides to go for it with the backup quarterback in and the snowstorm coming. And they go for it on fourth down. Yeah, the great Sean Payton, Bounty Gate man. I mean, that was a head scratcher. And so, yeah, they just got all the luck in the world now. They might be a good team. I mean, they have a really good quarterback, so maybe that was just some weird thing that happens, and now they're going to be all good every year, no matter what, because Drake May's just that good. But we'll have to see. Regal says, "What can seem an easy schedule?" Right, exactly. Phil Adams says, "I fear the NFL want the Jets to open the new Bills Stadium." That might be true, or they might want a more high-profile game. They might look at the Jets and be like, is that really what we want? Because they really, I think, want to pump up Josh Allen. And what they'd really like, I think, is like a good rivalry between Mahomes and Josh Allen, probably. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe the Pats will bring in Adam Gase. I mean, they're not going to do that. They're not that crazy. Chris Bradigan's here. He says, "Moo." Yeah. Chris Bradigan's in the inner circle. You could be in the inner circle for just $2 a month if you would just click the join button down below. And then you could hang out with the great Chris Bradigan. He's right here. And for those who are coming in late, we're celebrating with one of these. An all-day IPA. Dealio. It's time to kick back, have a little brewski, and just kick back and relax with the fellas, right? JoJo's here, hoping for the Super Bowl hangover. Yeah, it could be a Super Bowl hangover. Right, so why can't we, for a number of reasons? Maybe they were fake last year. Maybe there's a Super Bowl hangover. Maybe the Vrabel situation is affecting the team. We can't get one out of the two wins? I'm just asking for one. Bulls versus KC. Kraft was arrested in a massage parlor. Yeah, he was not only arrested, he was charged with 3 felonies. And the only reason the case got thrown out is because his white shoe lawyers got the evidence thrown out of court for some reason. They have him on tape. And by the way, the evidence was videotape of this happening, whatever he was doing that caused him to be charged with 3 felonies, not misdemeanors, felonies. And that tape exists somewhere. Somebody could release it. I'll be sipping tea that day. You don't say. Like, somebody should be really pissed off that these stupid lawyers got them to throw that out. That was the whole case, and then the case had to be closed because their whole case was based on this videotape evidence. So once they threw it out of court, they had no case anymore. They had this case closed. You're free to go, Mr. Kraft. But somebody somewhere's got to be pissed that happened. Where's the lawyers? Get some balls. Leak it. Leak the footage. So we can see what a fucking douchebag this guy is. Oh, God's sakes, man. Hefe's here. Look at Hefe. There she is. Brannigan. '40th full season. Look at this Brannigan gentleman. Look at this gentleman. 40 years. It's been 40 years. And he's still waiting. Still waiting. But Brannigan's in the inner circle, and so you could hang out with 40-year veteran. I mean, you want to ask somebody about the history of the Jets, you know, what it was like being a fan in 1976, 1962, or whatever. You could ask Brannigan. Why not? But only if you're a member of the inner circle, which you do by clicking the join button down below. Meadowland Swamp Thing. Lawyers exist to keep the corrupt and powerful. Well, ain't that the truth? You know what they say about lawyers, right? Tell me if you know what they say about lawyers. Put it in the chat if you know what they say about lawyers. Okay, nothing, no other further news. Well, you guys are not writing about lawyers. They say, what do you call 10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the sea? A good start. That's what they call it. Lawyers ruin everything, don't they? But the other big news, in case you missed it, Matthias says, I watched Super Bowl III as a kid, like a lifetime ago. They uphold the... Well, that's what you think, Hefe. You might be a little naive. Best say nothing. They'll sue you. The other big news of the day, the NFL has reached an agreement with with the NFL Referees Association. So we're going to have the real refs now. Now, that does not mean that I'm going to let up on my stance of fuck the refs. Fuck them. Now, we'll see what this new collective bargaining agreement entails, but the union voted for it overwhelmingly, so I'm sure it's probably much to their liking. There wasn't much. I mean, it went very fast, and then when they voted, it was almost unanimous. So whatever accountability and whatever else the NFL wanted in there probably is going to be pretty light. They did say that there is going to be a bench of replacement refs, so to speak, kind of like a minor leagues of refs, to replace very bad performing refs. So that's kind of good, but we'll have to see how it works in practice. I'm pretty sure that the union's not just going to give up jobs for its actual members as opposed to prospective members very easily. So someone would probably have to be really bad for them to lose their job to the bench refs. But nonetheless, I'm in the minority on this one. I wanted to see the replacement refs with technology because the first thing, everybody in the media has basically the same take, which is, no, we can't have replacement refs because the Hail Mary happened and therefore we don't want that to happen again. So we can't have these replacement refs. That was a disaster, which it was. But that was also 15 years ago. The technology has changed significantly in the last 15 years, in case you didn't know. And so I would have liked to see the replacement refs with the technology because maybe that would have been a better combo. You could probably save a lot of money having replacement refs, and when they screw up, the technology just fixes it for them. As opposed to now they can't use the same technology. They put the rules in place this year that they could use enhanced technology solutions only in the event of replacement referees. And so now they don't have replacement referees, so now they revert back to the old ways of doing it, and we'll have to see. Now, maybe in this CBA, it does say something about the technology. Maybe it'll be enhanced. That would be good, because we can't have these stupid refs screwing everything up all day long, which is basically what they do. Bastards. Stupid bastards. And some of it's not really their fault. Some of it is because the rule book is written stupidly. That's not their fault. That's the rules committee's fault. But so anyway, that was big news. We're not going to have work stoppage of referees. So they're probably going to start making $400,000 a year for for 4 hours of work per week, 6 months a year. So there's that. So looking forward to, JoJo, looking forward to Brees having his best season in Reich's system. I agree. And having a functional quarterback. You need threat balance. It's going to be sweet. I can't wait for the season, actually. I can't wait for this season. Give me a red robot with 8K. Yeah, I mean, at some point, once these Optimus robots get going and they become part of society in like 5 or 10 years, the idea is going to be pretty obvious, like, hey, these guys should be the refs, these robots. And then the game will be cleaned up because they'll call it by the letter of the law each and every time. It'll be very consistent. And then the guys will adapt and adjust and stop fouling each other as much. And it'll probably clean up the game, to be honest with you. But we'll have to see. Phil Adams, Jets rookie pressers. Yeah, well, I told you guys about these guys. And I think, like, right now, all these rookies, they're all very impressive. And if you're not, like, feeling a kinship with these rookies right now, Like now's the time when it's like this guy's going to be amazing, this other guy's going to be incredible, and all the fan bases are having the same reaction to all their rookies. But we got 3 first rounders, so we got more than most in terms of like high end talent, and then Pons in the second round. So, but yeah, D'Angelo Pons, everything they said was just fantastic. They all seem to have a good sense of humor, including Inez Cooper. 2 of my favorites are going to be Inez Cooper and Daryl Jackson. I mean, those 2 monsters are going to be my favorite. And then they, on top of just being absolute monsters, they are funny. And they used to be teammates on Florida State, and they said, Daryl Jackson said, yeah. He likes to talk a lot of trash. And they said, do you like to talk a lot of trash? He goes, yeah, especially with Inez. You gotta love it. So those are 2 big, huge monsters, and we need people like that in order to compete against other teams' monsters. You know, you can't go in there with a bunch of fake monsters like Michael Clemens, who's a fake monster. You know, talks a big game, you know, likes to show up without a shirt on and a baseball bat. Okay. Well, can you back it up? Nope. You get thrown around like a rag doll. Oh, well, that doesn't do us any good. Yeah, David Bailey, actually, I commented on this on X today. Bailey looks like he got bigger already. So, you know, AG remarked that he was up to 255. In draft time, he was listed around 250, 251. So already that's 4 extra pounds of muscle. And so probably by the time the season rolls around, might be up to 260, which would be good. A little more power, a little more sturdiness to hold up against the run. Jefe, if robots are calling it, wouldn't there be an offense? No, because they would adjust. That's the whole point. The reason there's holding on every play is because they can get away with it a lot of times. So they take the chance. It's like basketball. You ever watch a college basketball game? They clean that shit up quick. I hadn't watched a college basketball game in forever. And then I started watching some of the March Madness games, and it's like the game is not the same as what I remember. And they cleaned up the game, and now the guys just don't touch one another. In my day, it was Charles Oakley and Bill Laimbeer, and you know, it was like brawl basketball. If you weren't bleeding, it's not a foul, you know, type of thing. Well, they cleaned up the game, and the players now understand it, and they won't lay a finger on anybody because they know it's going to get called, and it will be the same thing here. If the holding calls were called consistently and fairly every single time, the players would not do it as much. Now, of course, you'd still have one once in a while, you know, but there would be a period of transition for sure. And, but then the guys would have to adjust, and I think they would. Bailey's going to be our John Abraham. Well, I hope he's going to be Von Miller, actually. Well, yeah, I tell it like it is. I mean, look, Swamp Thing, you heard me last year say the roster's not good enough, the free agent class was bad, Muji's doing a bad job. That's what I said at the time. And then the season came, and it was as I said, and it got worse because, of course, we traded Sauce and Quinnen, 2 of our best players. And so I said that's how it played out. I'm just looking at the roster. I know how good the guys are. We can talk more about Geno Smith and why I think he's going to be good. If you'd like, I can show you my scouting system for how I know that. It's called watching the tape and scouting and having a system. But so that's what it was. And then this year, so it's not really optimism, pessimism. It's just I look at what's happening. I know who's good or not. I mean, I also am an NFL fan, and I watch a lot of games that are not the Jets. And I know how other teams do things. I know how other players play when we acquire said players. I know how they've played elsewhere because I've seen them. And so being an NFL fan and just a fan of football really helps you If all you do is watch the Jet games, you don't necessarily even know about any of these other teams, which is kind of a shame, I think. Is an easy transition. Teach Inez left guard. Yeah. Well, can he be a starter is another question. First of all, what he is right now is a solid backup. He's a better pass protector than run blocker. And he's going to have a very specific role on this team. So his role, number one, he's going to back up both guard spots and essentially be a backup center, but he's not going to play center. He's going to play whatever guard spot gets injured, he goes in there, and then whichever one is left flips over to center. So Tippmann can play center, so can Parham. So essentially we have two backup centers on the starting line, if that makes sense. And then Inez backs up both guard spots. He's the primary backup. So that's job number one. Job number two is going to be on special teams kicks. He's going to be on the line for when we're kicking field goals and extra points. That's job two. Then job number three, in my opinion, we'll have to see if Frank Reich agrees, but I think he comes in tackle eligible and just fucks people up. He's basically our goon. On short yardage situation, he comes in and pounds you into the dirt. Tackle eligible, 13 personnel, 13 personnel plus Inez as tackle eligible, so essentially 14 personnel. We hand it off to Braylon Allen, who also looks great in his workouts, by the way. And good luck stopping us on that one. You got big, strong Braylon Allen. You got our 13 personnel. That's all three of our tight ends in, and Inez. And his only job is to submarine and kill you. So that's a good starting place for a 6th-round pick. We're talking about a 6th-round pick here. So he has most 6th-round picks, they're lucky if they make the roster. So for this year, that's his role, and that's a good starting place. And then we'll see what happens. Parham has a 2-year deal, by the way. So, next year we might draft a center in the 2nd round or something, and then get our Myers replacement then. So we'll see. It depends how he develops. Right now, he's a much better pass blocker than run blocker, which is good for a backup because when you put your backup lineman in, the primary thing is don't get the quarterback killed, right? So he can do that very well. His run blocking isn't as good. He's okay, but so that's why he works as a backup. And then let's see how he improves. Let's see how he does. Let's see how he looks. So he's a 6th-round pick, though. So assuming he could start is a bit much. Now, sometimes it happens. It would be a wonderful story if it did. But, expecting a 6th-round pick to start, now, sometimes it does happen. So it would be great if it did. But I wouldn't expect it. I would say but to have a backup who can do those 3 roles, that's very valuable, especially for a 6th-round pick. Like I said, I always like these late-round picks to have a role, to be doing something, not just some athletic freak like a Zach Kuntz. Now, he can't get a job anywhere. The Dolphins, I think, just released him. But he has a 10 RAS score. But he can't play football. No, don't take a chance on a RAS score. Take a guy who knows how to do something that you need done. That's how you make the most of these late-round picks. That's why I love our 7th-round pick, VJ Payne. He's going to have a role. It's going to be called tackle people on special teams and block for special teams returns, and then be a backup safety, and if you need to come in, play safety. So, and that's a 7th-round pick. That's great for a 7th-round pick. That's fantastic. So, and then you see what happens over time, and maybe they could improve their stock. But right now, that's where he is, and that's great news. It's great drafting. You're getting guys that can be useful on your roster. What was the point of taking Zach Kuntz or Jonathan Marshall or all these guys that just can't play football but have great RAS scores? You're not going to coach them up. It's just such a ridiculous idea. It's just such an ego-driven idea. Oh, give me that guy. I'll coach him up to play football. No, They have great coaches in college. It's not like the old days. There's plenty of great coaches in college. Why couldn't they bring it out of him? Oh, I can do it. I'm the best coach of all time. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. No. Take guys who can actually do something to help you win football games. So I like it. That's where he's at. And let's keep an eye on him. And he's going to probably be some of our favorite. He's going to be one of our favorite players because there's going to be 2 or 3 plays every game that are going to be so good that we're laughing, going, "Oh my, this guy is fucking great." He's just going to mess somebody up and fall on their head. It's going to be so good, man. So good. Hey, Meadowland Swamp Thing says, yeah, join the inner circle, y'all. Yeah, everybody should join the inner circle. You get tons and tons of value. For $2 a month, you could hang out with Meadowland Swamp Thing. Who doesn't want to hang out with Meadowland Swamp Thing? I mean, come on. He's a swamp thing. God's sakes, man. It's $2 a month. You get so much inside info. I mean, just today, for example, the people who are part of the inner circle got a job posting to work for who? The Jets. You could work for the Jets, but how are you going to know when there's a job opening at the Jets? Well, one way, become an inner circle member. Frankie will send you the link. Here it is. Yeah, you want to work for the Jets? Boom. There you go. Easy. Oh, Joe, I wouldn't be surprised if Inez is starting at some point. Well, let's hope not, because let's hope everybody stays healthy. We want everybody to stay healthy. This is probably the second best team he's been on. So I see him having a good... I think it's his best. I think it's the best one, frankly. Whoa, Mark Parrott with a $30. Mark, I want to book you for an appearance. Yeah, I mean, thank you for the super chat. I don't really do appearances, but and maybe, are you sure you're looking for me? Are you sure you're in the right place, Mark? Book me for an appearance. An appearance where? Anyway, you could hit me up on X, man. I'm on X. You could send me a direct message. Follow me on X. DM me. But thank you for the $30 super chat, man. I appreciate it. That's probably the highest super chat I've ever gotten. I appreciate that, man. And let me know if you have any other questions. For $30, you get to ask a lot of questions. Jets website says AG has spoken to other vet quarterbacks. Yeah. Well, that's what he said. Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he was just avoiding the question. They probably have talked to a bunch of vets. But, as you know, Phil, since you're now a member of the inner circle, I put out who we might acquire on other rosters. So as far as veterans that are available, it's slim pickings. It's Josh Dobbs. We probably talked to him. It's Russ and Cooper Rush, who's now trying out for the Vikings, by the way. He went to a tryout, which is weird. So there's not a lot of vets available, but we probably talked to those 3 to some degree. But you also know that since I put it out, there's 6 others on other rosters where, are these teams really going to carry 4 quarterbacks? There's 6 teams. There's actually more than that, but there's 6 teams with 1 guy out of 4 who could be a realistic, number 2 for the Jets on teams where they have 4. Now, maybe they get rid of one of the other ones, but it doesn't really make sense to me what the Eagles are doing with Tanner McKee, for example. They drafted Cole Payton. They traded for Andy Dalton, and they have Jalen Hurts. So what are they doing with Tanner McKee? He's 1 year away from free agency. Why would they hold on to him? They got 3 other guys. One they just drafted in the 5th round. And I know that they really, really like Cole Payton. And so why would they not want to trade Tanner McKee for maybe a 2028 pick? Because I don't think Mooj is trading the 27 picks. But maybe for a 2028 pick or 2. Maybe a 28 and a 29. Who knows? Who knows for Tanner McKee? Why wouldn't they do that? They have Hurts, Dalton, and Cole Payton as the developmental just-in-case guy. You have Andy Dalton as the backup in case Hurts gets hurt, right? You have Andy Dalton, solid. He knows what he's doing, okay? And then you have the developmental behind him with Cole Payton. So why wouldn't you trade Tanner McKee, right? It's the same thing with Tennessee with Will Levis. Will Levis is 1 year away from free agency. They have Cam Ward, obviously, and then they signed Trubisky to be his backup just in case he gets hurt. And then they also have Hendon Hooker as another guy hanging around. But, could be QB3. But why would they hang on? This is a rebuilding team, right? Will Levis is going to be a free agent in 1 year. Why would they hang on to him? Trade him now so get some draft assets, right? Jacoby Brissett. Now, there was a story that maybe Jacoby Brissett would be on the trading block, but now there's another story saying he's actually going to be the starter for the Cardinals. So who knows? But and he wants more money to be the starter, which makes sense. But if they want to go with Gardner Minshew and back him up with Carson Beck, and then they also have Keydon Slovis, or whatever his name is, why not trade Brissett? Again, that's another rebuilding team. Why wouldn't you trade Brissett for some draft picks? Because Brissett's not going to be part of the solution. What's the point? What's the difference between Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew? There's no difference. So and then you have Beck. Why wouldn't you see what you got in Beck? I don't particularly like Carson Beck, but they drafted him in the third round. Why wouldn't you put him as QB2 and see what he can do, at some point? What are you holding on to Jacoby Brissett for? It doesn't make any sense. So, I don't know. There's lots of options in the trade market, and we all know that Mooj does like to make his trades. So we'll have to see what these teams do. And another thing is they're going to have to release some of these people. Now, maybe Tennessee just releases Hendon Hooker, and the Cardinals just release or waive Keydon Slovis, But I don't know why you would keep these quarterbacks around. Now, like the Eagles, what are they going to do? There's no obvious release candidates there. They're just going to waive Tanner McKee? All right. Well, whoever does get waived, we have the number 2. We're number 2 on the waiver wire. So whoever the Raiders don't want, we can get. We're second up on the waiver wire. So whoever does get waived, it'd be hard for. Why would you just waive Tanner McKee though, when you could make a trade and get something for him? Like what would be the point? You could get something for him. I'm sure the Jets would trade for him. Might be other teams that want to trade for him. I don't know. But, so, I don't know. There's lots of options, but we got to see how they play. But one thing we do know, Mooj makes smart moves, so he's not going to do something stupid, I don't think. Matthias, always draft football players, smart players that love the game. Yeah, as opposed to these Raz heroes. Give me a blocking tight end. Give me a fullback. Give me something. Yeah, Sacheti, that's what I kind of think. Plus, he used weird language, if you remember. He said, they offered me. Offered me is what kids say when they get offered college scholarships. That's just a weird language. So maybe he was just trying to drum up. Maybe he was just trying to increase the offer that he got to go to do television. You know what I mean? Which I'm sure he does have. Maybe just trying to get that offer bumped up. Not a bad strategy. Chris Bradigan, I'll say it again. Mooj. All right, Bradigan. I believe in this guy. Yeah. Well, we got to start winning, Bradigan. Nobody comes in because of the general manager, but he's putting us in a position to win. Telling you, if Geno can have a good year, then the offensive players are all happy. Garrett, Brees, AD, all the guys. If Geno can throw for 4,200 yards, which he's already done in his career, not new to him, That's a lot of yardage to kind of go around, to spread around to all these guys. And their careers are reliant upon, to a big degree, the quarterback being able to get them the fucking ball, right? And so that would go. So that's a step in the right direction. And then if we can win like 8 or 9 or God forbid 10 games, then the narrative shifts to, my God, Glenn turned it around. My God, Reich. My God, Muji. My God, the Jets are turning this damn thing around. Look at all this young talent they have. Look at the old head leadership they have. What a good combo. And then the narrative starts turning around, right? Regal says, would you spend a draft pick? No, I would not. I don't think he's any good. So with Sorsby, he did not have a good year last year. He had an okay year, and the tools are okay, and he's a gambling addict. That we know. Is that a good fit for the Jets, a toolsy gambling addict? Now, some other team might like a toolsy guy who promises not to do the gambling anymore. All right. But I don't think that's the type of guy the Jets can really move forward with. We need sort of like salt of the earth types. So I don't think he's a good fit for us. Sorsby needed another year of college to develop and put together a really solid year to say, wow, he took a big step forward. Now he's looking good, like really solid as a prospect instead of a developmental project. He's not going to have that. The NCAA is certainly going to say, get out of here with this. Almost certainly. We'll see. Then he has to apply to the NFL supplemental draft. The NFL may be like, wait a minute, we're going to take a gambling addict? Get out of here. They may say, nope. Not they don't have to let him in. Then I'll have to go to the CFL. But no, if I'm the Jets, so some other team, he would be better off going to some other team that can handle his situation. We can't. We have to get back on track right now. Like this year. Like we have to it doesn't mean we have to win the Super Bowl, but we got to get back on track. That's this year is about getting back on track. It's one of the reasons Cade Klubnik was a good dice throw. Because he might develop into a backup. All right. Maybe he'll develop into a starter. Hey. But probably he'll develop into a backup, and that's a valuable player on your team. And then we need Geno to stabilize the fucking thing. So then on top of that, we can't just also have this Sorsby guy. I don't see it as realistic for the Jets. Whereas some other team may say, yeah, we got a great situation here. We could stash him over here. We'll give him a mentor over there and this and that, and we don't have to worry about, some other team that has their shit together can really deal with the Brendan Sorsby situation, in my opinion. And that team is not the Jets. We're on a totally different vibe, you could say. So that's my opinion. The kid has talent for sure, and he might turn into something. Who knows? But I just don't think it could work with the Jets where we are right now. All this positivity is needed to counteract the Arshman Fire AG agenda. Yeah, I don't know why you'd want AG fired. I mean, what we would really like to do is start winning some football games, and then everybody is happy with AG. And the good thing is, listen, man, one of the problems in life of football is this. You can't have a good OC because the good OCs leave and become HCs, right? The head coach, that's why the optimal setup is the head coach who's the play caller, because the head coach who's the play caller is the only unpoachable coach. He's the coach you cannot poach. So all the teams that hire defensive coaches have a problem. And of course, we have had this problem. Well, we haven't really had this problem because our OCs haven't been good, but we could have this problem where if we we could have had this problem with Tanner, for example. But because we hired Frank Reich, he probably doesn't want to be the head coach anymore. Really, if every way that Reich has been moving since we hired him, I think he's happy as hell to be doing this. He said so much in his press conference, and all of his actions seem to confirm that this, yes, is not just saying that. So, excuse me. So we have a good situation where if we can start winning some games and people go, wow, this AG turned it around, it's fantastic, excellent, okay, then the OC, part of that's going to be the offense being good, but we have an older OC who probably doesn't want to go anywhere anymore. He would probably like to do 5, maybe 10 years as the OC if everything went swimmingly, right? That's perfect. That's the kind of thing that could work. Now we got to start winning the games, and then the narrative will turn around on AG, which I think it would do in 2 seconds because the players already love AG. Everybody who comes into contact with AG loves him. The coach, the former coaches that he's coached with, everybody who knows him in real life, the coaches, the players, they all love him. The players gave him an A on the report card in a 3-win season. Think about that for a second. How good is AG with the players if they gave him an A when we won 3 games? You know, a lot of players get upset when we don't win because they know it reflects on them and then their earning capacity and all this. So the whole thing is about winning. The only reason people don't like AG is because they expected him to win a whole bunch of games in his first year, which was a crazy expectation in the first place. So, but now we could expect to win a respectable number of games. I'm going to put us in the 8 to 10 win bucket. And as long as that happens, AG's safe. Reich is happy. Everything's happy. The offense is going good. The defense is going good. Everything's going good. Bada bing, bada boom. Yep. Mandalorian movie. I don't even know what that is. I'm kind of vaguely aware of the Mandalorian. I'm not even sure what that is, Meadowlands. June 1 is the next big day. Moochie made some good moves. Yeah, so that's true. June 1 is when some people may cut free here. So that's another date to keep in mind. Jojo, good to see all the draft picks signed and ready to go. Jets looking like a real organization now. Yeah. Bradigan says, I agree. I don't think Sorsby makes sense here. Okay, good. So there we go. There we go. All right. So, let me know what else you guys want to talk about. We can talk about some of these draft experts and how they did. We can talk about the Geno Smith evaluation. We can talk about the roster. Now, I have us at, speaking of the roster, which is one of my favorite things to talk about, I have us at 90. 9-0. And you might say, well, of course, it's a 90-man roster. What are you talking about? Yes, but we designated Pascal Ekeji, a man I wrote about on Substack. By the way, you should subscribe to my Substack, frankiefromflatbush.substack.com. But I wrote an article about him, and the first day of camp, we designated him. I thought I was going to say designated for assignment, but that's a baseball thing. We designated him as our international pathway player. Which means that, number one, he's still here. We didn't cut him. And because we cut 2 other people. And then number 2, we get an IPP exemption. So because we have 1 IPP player, our roster should be at 91, which means we're 1 short, which means we might be signing someone. Who could that someone be? Would it be Kenny Moore? I would like that. Would it be Cam Jordan? Oh, I'd like that. Perhaps it's just the quarterback, Russell Wilson, perhaps. But I think as of now, we're 1 short. Now, we could sign 3 guys tomorrow and get rid of 3 of these guys that are on the 90-man very easily, of course. But Just a little strange that we're at 90 with the one roster exemption. And so it seems to me there's probably a signing coming soon, but we'll have to see. Yeah, well, AG, he can't come out and say we're going to be terrible. I mean, he's in a tough spot, right? You can't expect the head coach to come out and say, hey, everybody, we're going to lose. Now, what he should have done was tempered expectations. But you notice his demeanor has been a lot different, right? His demeanor with the press has been much, much different. And one of the things that I've appreciated from AG now, it seems like the guy who's at the podium these days is the real AG. Because one of the things that always perplexed me was everybody said how authentic AG was. That's what they liked about him. He's just authentic. He's real. He'll tell you like it is. But then he went up to the podium and deal with the media, and it seemed like he was putting on an act, a tough guy act. And so that was like, where's this coming from? First of all, it's not going to be successful unless you win games. Then you could do whatever you want. But otherwise, it just comes off as phony, and it wasn't authentic to the real AG, to the guy that all the players gave an A grade to in a 3-win season. And every coach you ever talked to who has established a friendship with him just raves about him, loves him, including Frank Reich. And so that always bothered me. Like, why is he putting up this fake persona with the media, which isn't going to work anyway? And it doesn't seem like the real AG. And so now, I think whatever reason, he came up with that for last year. And I think he learned his lesson, though. And so, yeah, he could have helped set expectations a little differently by wording things different. He could have, for sure. But then again, people should have been listening to old Frankie when I was telling you this roster is doo-doo. Hello, wake up. No bueno, not enough talent. Doesn't matter what AG says about it. Because that's the other thing people were telling me. Oh, don't worry, Frankie, they're going to coach him up. I was like, no, you're not going to coach up these bums. So, very strange. Very strange. All right, let me know. Think about last call for questions. Last call for questions. Let's see if we could play a little music.
Three, four. The mire, I'll be above you. It's a crime that desire had to corrupt you. I am armed with an armload of stories. Some are weighted with shame, some tell of glory. Well, when you rise from this madness and see how guilty your past is, you'll be so gone by then. God will be your friend. Yeah, yeah, yeah. against you. Your manufactured oppression, I guess it freed you. Well, when you rise from this madness and see how guilty your past is, you'll be so gone by then that only God will hold your hand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Madness and see how guilty your past is. I'll watch you burn in the fire. I'll be your bird on the wire. Well, I'm ensconced with desire, but I can't handle the liar. Oh, when you rise from the madness, see how guilty your past is, you'll be so gone by then that only God will be your friend. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a little Das Frog for you here on K Frank, playing the music that Frankie likes. Sometimes we turn FSPN into K Frank, playing the music that Frankie likes. I'm just checking for any of the latest news. Excellent track. All right. Yeah, I think so. Regal. Personally, I wouldn't mind if we only win 5 games. Yeah, I think, well, with the talent we have, the problem with last year's team was there just wasn't enough talent, so they were just getting, slaughtered. But with the talent we have, that shouldn't be a problem this year. So we don't have to worry about that. Regal says, which player make the biggest leap forward? Well, it's not really a leap forward, but there should be a lot more production out of Garrett, Brees, A.D. Mitchell, Mason Taylor, just because the offense is going to be functioning, hopefully, the way I see it. Then on defense, it's a completely new defense, so it's really hard to say something like that. But let's see what this new defense looks like. Now, this is the defense. This is the preferred defense that I wanted to see, and so I'm very happy. We're going to start with a 3-4 base. We're going to be multiple. We're going to be 3-4-4-3, 5-man front, 6-man front. We're going to do it all, and that's the way you want to be in today's football. You need schematic fluidity. So we'll have that, and we'll see what that looks like. I don't think they're done constructing the roster. For example, I would like to see Kenny Moore acquired or some other safety solution, and then a Cam Jordan type would be great, et cetera, et cetera. So let's see what we do as a unit, but hopefully, we can get these units to a good place and win some ball games. That's the most important thing. All right, last call. Questions, comments on a Friday night. Last call. Otherwise, it'll be off to Margaritaville. Wasting away again in Margaritaville. Right. Well, thank you for joining on a Friday night and hanging out. I appreciate it. Follow me on socials. We had someone come in and want me for an appearance. Who knows what that means? But if you want to follow me on X, Instagram, and Substack, that's where I am. Flatbush Frankie from Flatbush. You can find me. And if you'd like to request me to make an appearance and pay me thousands of dollars, I'll consider it. Why not? But really, check out the Substack. We have written articles there. FrankieFromFlatbush.substack.com. Just put your email in, choose the free option. All the articles are going to remain free, so you don't have to worry about it if you don't have any money. Just choose the free option. You'll get everything. And, Coffee with Frankie. We'll be doing Coffee with Frankie on Sunday, 10 a.m. 10 a.m., Coffee with Frankie, as always, and we'll see what other moves the great Darren Muji has made to improve this team. We shall see. So I'll see you on Sunday. Check out the Substack, FrankieFromFlatbush.substack.com, and consider joining the Inner Circle for just $2 a month. You can hang out with Phil Adams. He's in there. By clicking the join button down below.